I'm starting on a new painting today. This is a commission, and it's based on a piece I did several years ago. The people basically want it very similar but with some different changes. So first of all, I have sketched the basic plan of the painting up on the canvas with a mixture of mud, which is my ultramarine blue plus alizarin crimson, and I mixed that with liquid to make a thin oil wash. That's what I use to sketch up the whole basic plan, and I do that on all of my paintings, and then that gives me just my basic plan to follow. I label the flowers so I don't forget what I'm going to paint, and next then I begin painting, and I paint from the background to the front. We always have called it, Jack called that painting forward. You do the things that are furthest away. We start with the sky because that illuminates the painting. The sky provides the light. So we start with the lightest area, which is my sky. And this is a mixture of cobalt blue plus white. And the top part of the sky, if you'll go out and look, the sky as it comes overhead, over that dome of the sky, is darker. As it comes flatter toward the horizon, it gets lighter. And now I'm using a mix of phthalo blue plus white. Or actually, it's more white than phthalo blue, but that's my mixture I'm using here. And as the sky comes down toward the earth, it gets a little bit greener. The light reflects off of the warmth of the earth and it warms the sky. So that's why I'm using the phthalo blue plus white here. I just kind of work around my drawing. That got a little bit dark. Clean my brush. I used toilet tissue to clean my brush, and I just use it a few times and throw it away, and that way the paint in my brush stays clean, my paint on my canvas stays clean, and you have nice crisp colors. Now I'm going to start the clouds, and this is a mixture of white plus my mud. I just paint that over the blue. I'm just going to go ahead and paint. I'm not worried about putting the blue down here under my archway, and those are going to be mountains back there. But these clouds I paint them into the blue. I paint the blue first and then paint the cloud over it because that allows me to get nice soft edges. You don't want your clouds to be hard because you want them to fall back into the background. So you want that to be very soft. When I first began painting, I would make my clouds really heavily textured, and they just came forward of everything else. That's one thing in a painting. We're working to give the feeling of 3 dimensions on a 2-dimensional canvas. So texture is one way of making things come forward. So the ideal way is to paint smooth in the background, and then as you come forward, that's where you want your texture to be. So all of my flowers in the foreground will be very textured, and that helps bring them forward and make the background fall back. Now the sun is tipping these clouds, so this is a mixture of white plus a tiny bit of the mud plus alizarin crimson. And this just catches those clouds. Let them come in behind that building. Wisteria is going to be draping down over that, but I'm going to go ahead and paint this in here. And that light will shine through the wisteria that's draping down. That's also another method of giving depth in a painting. Just have foreground elements come over the background. I'm going to put a little bit of that light just right down in here, make that soft. But that is going to give depth behind that arch. Now we'll start working on the distant mountains. And this is a mixture, the farthest range back is bluer because cool colors, which blues are cool, they recede, they go back. So we want this far mountain to go back. So this is a mixture of white plus ultramarine blue plus a little bit of mud. And again, that's alizarin crimson plus the ultramarine blue. And the clouds almost blend into that, so I'm going to make that top edge, add a little bit more mud into that, just to make that top edge a little bit more distinct from the clouds in the background. I've got the mixtures just a little bit too close in value. I'm going to use a little bit smaller brush here. Just come back and just make that a little bit darker on that top edge. And now I'm using my lighter. I'm going to go over it with my lighter color just to marry the two colors together. Now, in between the mountains, there's usually a little bit of atmosphere, mist, so it gets lighter as it goes down between the two mountain ranges there. The two layers of mountains. Now, this next mountain is going to be warmer, and in New Mexico, in Santa Fe, you've got lots of cedar and everything, so this is going to be a little bit warmer. And I'm using a mixture of phthalo blue plus cadmium orange. And I've mixed a little bit of mud in there just to gray it. Just to gray it down a little bit. And I have a lot of different mixtures here of that same basic combination. But I just want to get that feeling of that mountain back there. Just covered, it's covered in cedar and just nice little cool colors. And these little cool blue-greens are really we're going to have red gates on this adobe wall. So that is really, those cool blues and greens are really going to make that red pop. And as it come down lower, just a little bit lighter in here. A little bit darker, got it a little bit too light. You can always adjust colors as you start working. A little bit darker. I don't want to do that real detailed. I just want to give the feeling of trees and stuff back there, because again, we don't want a lot of detail in the background. There's going to be a tree popping up there, so I'm just going to leave that. I'm going to make that just come through into that little spot right there behind the awning. All right, so that is our mountain and the sky. I'm going to soften this edge of the mountain just a little bit. It's just a little bit hard. And I don't want the eye to be drawn back to that, so I'm going to soften this edge. And I just take a clean brush and go over that. Kind of pull those colors in together so it softens that. See how that drops back? Just drops back a little bit more. Then this edge is harder, and so that comes forward. Thank you for following along today. I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll get every video that I post. I also have a blog where I show the rest of the step-by-step process of this painting and all of the others that I do. So please feel free to visit my blog. The URL address is on the very last frame of the video. It is also www.mickeysenkarik.wordpress.com. So please come visit my blog, and thank you for watching today. You have a great day and happy painting.